Most new motorcycles these days either look like stealth bombers or weigh as much as your car. Somewhere along the line, fun got replaced by features. The bikes got smarter, heavier, flashier, and somehow a lot less alive. But a quiet rebellion has been brewing. A new breed of machines has stripped away the plastic, ditched the gizmos, and brought back what riding was always meant to feel like: light, raw, and honest. These are the bikes that don't care about lap times or Wi-Fi connections. They just want to make you grin inside your helmet again. Welcome to the world of lightweight naked motorcycles. The bikes that remind you it's not about horsepower, it's about connection. They dance through corners, laugh at traffic, and make every grocery run feel like a backroad sprint. They're built for riders who want to feel everything, not hide behind fairings and dashboards. Some of these names might sound familiar. A few of them are adventure bikes that traded hiking boots for sneakers. But this time, we're staying on the asphalt. Leaner, sharper, and a little more rebellious. Because in 2025, lightweight nakeds aren't just affordable toys anymore. They're redefining what real motorcycling feels like. And somewhere in this list, there's one machine that's going to make you question why fairings ever existed in the first place. So if you love bikes that make sense, not just noise, hit the subscribe button, give the video a quick like, and let's get into the rides that are bringing soul back to the streets. Number 11. CF Moto 450 NK. Let's start with a bike that caught everyone off guard: the CF Moto 450 NK. For years, riders brushed off CF Moto as the budget brand, but that reputation's starting to crack. What they've built here doesn't feel cheap. It feels like the start of something big. The 450 NK is the street-smart sibling of the 450 MT adventure bike we covered before. Same 449cc twin, same solid engineering, but tuned for pure city fun. At about 370 pounds wet, it feels playful in traffic and planted through corners. The throttle sharp, the gearbox snappy, and the slipper clutch smooth as butter. Here's the kicker: it's loaded with features you'd expect from bikes thousands more expensive. Full-color TFT dash, adjustable levers, switchable ABS, LED lighting, and styling that looks more Italian than Chinese. CF Moto clearly came to prove that performance and affordability don't have to live in opposite ends of the map. For riders priced out of big brand middleweights, this feels like a quiet rebellion on two wheels. And when you realize it's under $6,000 with a warranty, it's hard not to smile. It's not imitating anyone, it's creating its own lane. And if that sounds impressive, wait till you see what happens when a certain European brand adds refinement to the recipe. Number 10. BMW G310R. If the CF Moto 450 NK was the underdog, the BMW G310R is proof that small doesn't mean simple. This is BMW's idea of an entry-level naked, but it feels every bit like the real thing. Under the tank sits a 313cc single that makes around 34 horsepower. It's not built to rip your arms off, it's built for balance. Smooth at low speeds, relaxed on the highway, and efficient enough to make your wallet grin. The clutch is light, the gearbox clicks like a metronome, and the ride position hits that sweet middle ground between sporty and comfortable. At just 374 pounds wet, the G310R is one of the lightest bikes BMW has ever made. That's the magic. It feels alive. It darts through corners, forgives your mistakes, and rewards confidence without punishing your ego. You still get upside-down forks, LED lighting, and that BMW build quality that makes you double-check the price tag. Sure, it's not the cheapest, but you're buying engineering confidence that scales down perfectly. It doesn't demand respect, it earns it. But if a BMW feels like polite refinement, the next one takes that formula and spikes it with caffeine and chaos. Number 9. KTM 390 Duke. If the BMW is refinement, the KTM 390 Duke is caffeine and chaos. It doesn't politely ask you to ride, it dares you. Every twist of the throttle feels like a dare, and that's exactly why riders love it. KTM built the 390 Duke around a 399cc single that makes about 44 horsepower. On paper, that's mild. On the road, it's electric. Weighing barely 364 pounds, the Duke feels telepathic. Throttle sharp, steering instant, chassis tight. It's not a commuter with attitude, it's a sport bike that lost its fairings and found its soul. The latest version gets a TFT dash, adjustable suspension, and LED lighting that makes it look like a sci-fi street fighter. It's aggressive, loud in spirit, and unapologetically orange. Subtlety has never been Austria's strong suit. Despite all that fire, it's still practical. Upright ergos, reasonable seat height, and solid fuel economy make it easy to live with. The Duke proves lightweight doesn't mean beginner, it means fun you can use. If you want a bike that makes every red light feel like a starting grid, this is it. But if you think this is as wild as a naked bike gets, just wait till you see how the British do fun. Number 8. Triumph Trident 660. If the KTM 390 Duke is chaos, the Triumph Trident 660 is control. It's what happens when British engineers look at the word fun and decide to define it with a straight face. The Trident doesn't shout, it smirks. It knows exactly what it is: refined, balanced, and built to make every ride feel effortless. Underneath, you get a 660cc triple engine that puts out around 80 horsepower. Smooth, torquey, and endlessly forgiving. Twist the throttle, and it doesn't explode forward. It flows. Weighing just over 415 pounds, it's light enough to flick through corners but planted enough to feel stable at highway speeds. The suspension is firm but never punishing. The seat is wide, comfortable, and low enough for most riders to flat-foot at stops. What really stands out is the polish. The fit and finish feel premium, like Triumph wanted you to notice every detail. The TFT display is crisp. The clutch is light. Even the exhaust note feels tuned for charm rather than noise. And while it's classy on the outside, don't mistake it for tame. Crack the throttle open and that triple wakes up with a howl that's all business. It's not the loudest or the cheapest, it's just the one that makes you feel like a better rider every time you get off. Next up, we go from British manners to Japanese mastery. A bike that proves friendly doesn't mean boring. But before we keep going, I've got to ask, what kind of rider are you? Do you lean toward the classy, composed side like the Trident, or are you more of a throttle-happy Duke type? Drop it in the comments. And hey, if you're enjoying this lineup so far, hit that like button and make sure you subscribe. It helps the channel out way more than you think, and it tells me you want more videos just like this. Alright, let's see what Japan's bringing to the table next. Number 7. Honda CB500F. The Honda CB500F is what happens when a motorcycle company decides to skip the drama and just get everything right. No gimmicks, no ego, just a clean, well-balanced naked that quietly outperforms its reputation. At first glance, the CB500F looks modest, but under that simplicity hides one of the most refined middleweight engines ever built. A 471cc parallel twin that delivers around 47 horsepower. Smooth, predictable, and happy to rev all day without a single complaint. It's the kind of motor that makes every throttle input feel honest. Weighing just over 416 pounds wet, it's light enough for new riders to handle with ease, but solid enough for seasoned ones to actually enjoy. The upright ergonomics and neutral steering make it perfect for city commutes, weekend rides, or crosstown detours when you accidentally miss your exit. The best part? It doesn't punish you for riding it hard. The suspension soaks up bumps like it's been trained in diplomacy, and the clutch feel is so forgiving you could shift with 2 fingers. And that's the beauty of it. The CB500F doesn't scream for attention. It just earns your trust, one perfect shift at a time. If you're the kind of rider who values reliability, smoothness, and zero surprises, this Honda isn't just a good choice, it's the smart one. But if you think smooth means boring, the next bike has a way of proving you wrong, with style. Number 6. Yamaha MT-07. The Yamaha MT-07 doesn't care about trends, categories, or whatever new buzzword marketing just invented. It's too busy doing what it's always done, reminding riders that raw character still matters more than tech sheets. This bike's heart is a 689cc parallel twin known as the CP2 engine, and if you've ever twisted its throttle, you already get the hype. It doesn't just make power, it pulses with it. There's this perfect thump every time you roll on, like the bike's alive and egging you on. At around 406 pounds, it's light but not twitchy. The chassis feels balanced, the suspension predictable, and the ergonomics are that sweet spot between sporty and relaxed. You can commute on it all week, then carve canyons all weekend without changing a thing. It's the kind of motorcycle that feels like an extension of your thoughts. You don't have to plan every move, you just ride. That connection is what makes the MT-07 such a legend. And while Yamaha's refined the looks over the years, it's still got that aggressive, don't mess with me stance that says exactly what it is: simple, soulful fun. But if the MT-07 is the everyman's naked, the next bike is for riders who want something a little leaner, meaner, and built for pure mischief. Number 5. Kawasaki Z400. The Kawasaki Z400 is one of those bikes that just gets it. No drama, no ego, no intimidation. Just a perfect balance of lightweight, usable power and good old-fashioned fun. It's powered by a 399cc parallel twin that puts out about 47 horsepower. That may sound modest, but pair it with a weight of roughly 364 pounds, and the Z400 becomes a total riot. The throttle feels instant, the steering sharp, and the chassis feels light enough to flick side to side with one thought. It's easy to mistake the Z400 for a beginner bike, and sure, it's great for new riders. But the truth is, even veterans fall for it. There's something addictive about a machine that lets you ride hard without feeling punished. The ergonomics are relaxed, the clutch feather light, and the power band right in that sweet spot between forgiving and thrilling. It's also a bike that never feels like it's trying too hard. It's fun at 40 miles per hour and still grinning at 80. And that's rare these days. Simple joy without any strings attached. If you've ever wanted proof that small doesn't mean soft, the Z400 delivers it in every corner. Before we head into the final stretch, I've got to say, if you've made it this far, you're one of the riders who really gets it. Hit that subscribe button and tap the bell so you don't miss what's coming next. We've got some seriously fun machines ahead, and the next one might just make you rethink what entry level even means. Number 4. Yamaha MT-03. If the Z400 is the friendly all-rounder, the Yamaha MT-03 is the younger sibling who refuses to stay in the background. It takes the same DNA that made the MT-07 a legend and shrinks it into a lean, eager street weapon. Under the tanks, it's a 321cc parallel twin pushing out about 42 horsepower. On paper, that's nothing wild, but on the road, it feels alive. The engine revs like it's chasing butterflies, smooth through the mid-range and playful all the way to the red line. At roughly 373 pounds wet, it's so light you start throwing it into corners just because you can. The MT-03 looks the part too. Angular, aggressive, and just mean enough to make bigger bikes nervous. The suspension is firm without being harsh, and the ergonomics walk that perfect line between comfort and attack stance. This is the kind of bike that makes every short ride feel like a reason to keep going. It's approachable, affordable, and so easy to handle that you stop thinking about technique and just have fun. Which, let's be honest, is the whole point. But if Yamaha's small but spicy approach feels dialed in, the next bike proves you can still pack real muscle into a featherweight frame and keep it European. Number 3. Husqvarna Vitpillen 401. The Husqvarna Vitpillen 401 is what happens when a motorcycle designer gets sick of the same old naked bikes and decides to build something sharp enough to cut through traffic and your self-control. It's clean, minimalist, and somehow both futuristic and retro at the same time. You don't ride it to blend in, you ride it because you want a little edge in your life. Underneath the slick bodywork sits a 399cc single cylinder you'll find in the KTM 390 Duke. Around 44 horsepower, light as a feather at just 335 pounds, and it feels even lighter when you start flicking it around corners. The Vitpillen doesn't just turn, it darts, it snaps, it pops from one line to the next like it's reading your thoughts before you commit to them. The riding position is a touch more forward than your typical upright naked, giving it this eager, playful vibe. The suspension is tight and controlled, perfect for carving up city streets or ripping through those sneaky back roads you accidentally take on your way home. And the styling? It's pure art school rebellion. Straight lines, clean surfaces, no fluff, no nonsense. This is a bike that gets attention without shouting. It's the sort of machine you park and catch yourself staring at before you even take your helmet off. And once you hear that single thump to life, you remember why you bought a lightweight naked in the first place. Connection over chaos. It's simple, it's stylish, it's a little wild. And if this one already feels special, the next bike proves just how crazy lightweight performance can get when Italy decides to show off. Number 2. Aprilia Tuono 660. The Aprilia Tuono 660 is the kind of bike that makes you realize lightweight doesn't mean low power. It's Italian, it's elegant, and it's got just enough madness baked in to keep you honest. Aprilia built this one for riders who want that razor-sharp sport bike feel, without the backache or the intimidation. Underneath, you get a 659cc parallel twin that cranks out around 100 horsepower. That's right, triple digits, and a bike that weighs barely 403 pounds wet. The result is a machine that feels alive at any speed, like it's constantly daring you to find out what happens next. But what makes the Tuono special isn't just speed, it's feel. The throttle is immediate, The brakes are surgical, and the chassis balance is pure magic. You can lean it, flick it, or coast through city traffic with that smug, I'm writing Italian engineering grin under your helmet. And yet, it's surprisingly practical. The upright bars, fairing silvers, and comfortable ergonomics make it a bike you can live with, not just stare at. The 2Ono 660 blurs the line between sport bike and naked, a kind of middleweight masterpiece that does everything with flair. But the next bike? It doesn't need flair. It's a legend for a reason, and it might just outlive you. Number 1. Suzuki SV650. Some bikes chase technology, others chase speed, and then there's the Suzuki SV650. A bike that's been quietly doing everything right for decades while the rest of the world keeps reinventing the wheel. Since its debut in the late 90s, the SV650 has earned a reputation that borders on mythical. It's light, reliable, and built around one of the best engines ever dropped into a middleweight. A 645cc V-twin that makes around 75 horsepower and sounds like happiness filtered through exhaust pipes. It's got torque where you need it, character where you want it, and manners that make every ride feel effortless. At roughly 432 pounds, it's not featherweight on paper, but once it's moving, it feels like it sheds half of that. The handling is intuitive, the seat position neutral, and the suspension forgiving enough to make even rough roads feel like part of the fun. The SV650 isn't flashy, it doesn't need to be. It's the motorcycle equivalent of your favorite leather jacket. Simple, timeless, and always just right. And maybe that's why it's still here, long after countless new ideas have come and gone. Because sometimes, the most modern thing you can do is just get it right the first time. So, there you have it. 11 lightweight naked motorcycles that prove less really can be more. They're not trying to outgun the superbikes or outshine the tourers. They're here for riders who still believe that the best part of motorcycling isn't buried in menus or electronics. It's in the ride itself. They remind us that freedom doesn't need 1200 cc's or a screen that talks back. Sometimes, all it takes is 2 cylinders, an open road, and that moment when everything else just disappears. Now I want to hear from you. Which one of these bikes would you take home and why? Drop it in the comments below. And if you love motorcycles that make sense, not just noise, give this video a thumbs up, subscribe, and keep the ride going with us.